Hello. So Tuesday, when we came back to school, we in 8th grade we reviewed the design process, which we had started on Thursday of last week. You were supposed to go through that on Friday on your own, but so what we did is most people didn't, so we went through it in class on Tuesday. So what we'll do is just go through that just in case. So what do I need you to know? Well, the design is a generic term, and it's a systematic problem-solving strategy. This is the same one we used last year. Here is the order of the design process: define the problem, generate concepts, develop a solution, construct and test a prototype, evaluate the solution, and present the solution. So under define the problem, we have to identify the problem, validate the problem. In other words, who says it's a problem, what are the needs and wants, and what are some prior solutions. We justify the problem, and is the problem worth solving. We create design requirements, criteria, and constraints. And right here, we spent some time talking about what are criteria and constraints, where criteria are ideas and items that we justify, or I'm sorry, we grade or use to items that we use to determine what is the best solution. Constraints are considered limitations. And then we created the design brief. And I reminded students on Tuesday that the design brief was that written plan that we put together last year at 7th graders that told us what the title of the project was, who we were working for the project, what the problem was, and then listed the criteria and constraints, and then just kind of did a brief summary of what we thought not what the solution is, but a general idea of what we thought the project would be. It's used to encourage thinking aspects of the problem before attempting a solution. Okay. And then we went to step 2, which is generate concepts. So we had to do some research. Who's done work on this before? Brainstorm. Remember, brainstorming is just writing down as many ideas as we possibly can. It is also one of those things that there are no bad ideas when we're brainstorming. We consider additional design goals. We apply STEM principles, select an approach through a decision matrix. And if you remember, the decision matrix helps us decide what the best solution is from the ideas that we generated after we compare them to our criteria and constraints. So remember, this is where we use the Google Sheets, and our criteria and constraints went across the top and our ideas down the left-hand side, and we compared each idea to each individual criteria and constraint and gave it a score. Then we moved on to step 3, which was develop a solution. So we created a detailed design solution. We justified the solution path, and then we created technical drawings. And here I asked students what were technical drawings. If you want to pause here for a second and think about what technical drawings are before you move on, that would be fine. Okay, so technical drawings are drawings that provide technical information necessary to produce a product, such as material, size, shape, assembly, if necessary. Remember, what I am really looking for are what the product looks like and its dimensions. So that's where we get the shape and size from. So here we construct, step 4, construct and test a prototype. So we construct a testable prototype. Now I ask people right here, what is the difference between a prototype and a model? So again, if you want to pause here, go ahead, figure out what that is, and then you can come back. Okay, so remember, a prototype is a full-size working model of the item that you're making, whereas a model is a scaled version of it, either smaller or bigger. All right, so once we have that, we plan the prototype testing for performance, usability, and durability. We then test the prototype, we collect the test data, analyze the test data, and then we create a test report. Remember that test report, let me go back here. Test report includes all the plans for the prototype, includes all the testing, and then the test data and analyzation of that test data is all included within that test report. We move on to step 5, which is evaluate the solution. So we reflect on the design, we recommend improvements, and then optimize and redesign the solution, meaning we may have to go back to previous steps over here, depending upon what we're doing. And then we put together a project recommendation. At that point, we're ready to move on to step 6, which is present the solution. So we're going to document the project, which we've been doing the whole time that we've been doing this. We put it all together in what's called a project portfolio. We communicate the project through a formal presentation. Now, if you remember, a formal presentation is just not getting up in front of somebody and talking, or a group of people and talking to them. It's also putting together a written document that people would use to figure out the project that you're trying, or the project that you've been working on. So remember that this is iterative, meaning we can go through the process and have to go back to any step at any point in time. And that's it. So thank you very much and have a wonderful time. If you have questions, please email me.